It was a beautiful day in the woods. I could feel that there was magic in the air. I'm going to tell you my story. In a clearing filled with ferns, I spotted something on one of the leaves. It looked like a tiny silver crown covered in gemstones. I picked it up to get a closer look. Then I noticed something on the forest floor beneath me. In the hollow of a tree was a tiny little dwelling. I took a closer look and realised it was a fairy home. On a tiny table was spread out a set of cards. Miniature shelves held all manner of magical objects and books. And on the floor was a tiny woven carpet. I wondered what type of fairy lived here. As I looked at the little fairy wand in the corner, I remembered the crown that I'd found just a moment ago. I took out the little crown and placed it on the table next to the wand. I put away my camera, planning to return later, and then something truly magical happened. I couldn't record it on my camera, so I've sketched it in my book. I was suddenly aware of a tiny figure standing in the entrance to the home. A cloak and hood shrouded their face, but I could see that they were smiling. Then they pulled off their hood to reveal a pair of pointy ears, big twinkling eyes, and long flowing hair. As I watched, they turned towards the table where I'd put the crown, picked it up, and placed it on their head. I was glad to see that I had returned the crown to its rightful owner. I stood there transfixed by this beautiful little creature. Its cloak looked like a pair of delicate moth wings, and the jewels on its crown sparkled in the sunlight. It turned, picked up the deck of cards that was sitting on the table, and then sat cross-legged on the carpet. For a moment it sat there with its eyes closed, then turned over one of the cards and showed it to me. It had a picture of a mushroom on it. Then the fairy got up, reached into a cupboard, and put on the most remarkable hat I've ever seen. It was like a leafy crown with delicately embroidered filigree covering it. The fairy stood for a moment smiling at me, and then its cloak lifted up, and I realised it was a pair of wings, and suddenly it had gone, and just like that, so had its little home. There was nothing left where it was. For a moment I felt sad that the creature had disappeared, but then I saw something gold, glinting, and realised it was another fairy charm, and this time it was a mushroom. I can't wait for my next fairy adventure. I hope you'll join me.